Hey, hi, hello. My name is Emily, and thanks so much for hanging out with us on the Today Needs You podcast. This is where we have the chance to chat about all the things, from feelings and friendships to our favorite sneakers and our favorite Bible verses. We're going to tackle it all. I'm super pumped about today's episode, so let's dive in together. Hello, happy Tuesday, or whatever day you are watching or listening. I love that we get to be together every week as a community. No matter where you are or what we're doing or what's going on, we get to be together, and I am so grateful for that. I'm also very grateful for my All the Things boxy hoodie because I get so cold in the summer indoors. I don't know if that happens for y'all at school or anywhere you are, that inside is cold, even if it's 100 degrees outside. So that is why you will be seeing me cozy indoors because it is chilly inside when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. And I'm grateful for that, but I also come prepared. Today, we are talking about making good decisions. That is a term used so often, and it's overwhelming. It is sometimes has feelings of like tisk and like gross. And sometimes it feels like you can't do anything right. And so we are going to talk about how to feel like you're making good decisions, how to be strong and courageous when making good decisions, and a little bit of like why make good decisions and what makes a good decision. And that is because a lot of people in the summer is more time hanging out with friends, hanging out with new people, spending time at work or camp or whatever that may look like. It's a different season than when you're in school, however many hours a day, 5 days a week. Also, the reason we're talking about this is because it speaks directly to our upcoming project with incoming college freshman girls called All the College Things, and it is content and community. The details are in the show notes, but I'm so excited for this because I absolutely loved college so much. And college is a time of a lot of change. A lot of people leave for the first time, or they're staying home, but they're adults now a little bit. You're like partly an adult, partly still a kid, and it's weird. But I truly believe that for any girl who wants to confidently follow Jesus and thrive in college, that this is an amazing opportunity to connect with girls who feel the same way. And also, I am working to encourage and support y'all through some little helpful tidbits. I went through sorority recruitment. I loved being in my sorority all 4 years, and I made really great friends. I went to a school where I knew no one. I have friends who went to school where they knew a lot of people, and there are so many different ways to navigate school, so many different ways to navigate going to college that I want us to talk about it together. So that is my little tidbit about what is upcoming for All the College Things. I'm so excited. If you are an incoming freshman, or if you know any incoming freshman girls, please, please, please let me know, let them know that they can jump in and be a part of this. It's going to be so fun. It's a 6-week content piece, and then we're going to keep the community going all year long. So we want to be with each other, cheering each other on, wondering which way is up together. And so I'm super pumped. All that is to say, that is why we're talking about decision-making today, because decision-making is everywhere, and it's always a little bit tricky, but it gets even trickier when you're in between seasons or in between grades or in between elementary and middle school and high school and college, like we just talked about. So I wanted to first start with a Bible verse of encouragement. Psalm 23 has one verse in there where it's talking about God, and it says, He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for His name's sake. That helps me take a breath. It helps me be way less overwhelmed by making decisions because I know that I can go to God and have my soul restored, feel rest, feel energized, and have the endurance to be led in right paths for God's glory and for my good. And so what I love about Scripture, about the Bible, is that Scripture helps us know what to hold on to as right, good, and true. And so we're going to look at Matthew 22, 37 through 39. You may have heard the story before about when someone asked God, which is the greatest commandment? And someone asked Jesus that question. And I love Jesus's answer so much because, well, first of all, I just pictured Jesus in that moment, like someone being a little sassy, saying like, okay, which one is the most important? Because you've said they're all important. So what do I do with that? And so first of all, someone's being a little sassy to Jesus. And second, Jesus, I just picture him like this, like so even keeled and just responding like, oh, I have the answer for you and do with this what you will. But in Matthew 22, verses 37 through 39, and then we're going to talk about where Jesus got this answer. But Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So basically, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. That means the people we have to love, the things we are supposed to give our attention to, we love God, we love others, and we love ourselves. Okay, that kind of gives me like a framework for decision making. But then with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, whoa. That feels overwhelming to me. So then I'm like, okay, why is this overwhelming to me? Because all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, that's a big job. That is a big, big job. But then I look at how social media, teenagers are saying the same things about social media, how it is overwhelming, how it is taking up so much time, giving me reasons to compare myself to others, making me act different around my friends, making me spend less time with my family. Those are things that teenagers are saying about social media. And when I look at, okay, if my job is to love the Lord my God with all my heart, all my soul, all my mind, and love my neighbor as myself, that's a full-time gig. That takes a lot of thought and effort where there's not as much room or space to compare myself to other people, to spend less time with my family, to be have a little attitude, or to be a little rude sometimes. When I'm working every day for all my heart, all my soul, and all my mind to go toward loving God and to love my neighbor as myself, it's like, okay, I got this. Let's do it. And Jesus took this actually from a Jewish tradition, was to say the Shema. Actually, I think it still is, but to say the Shema at least 2 times a day. And the Shema is from Deuteronomy. You can see it in Deuteronomy 6. But it is that concept of loving the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. That is something that Jesus said out loud at least 2 times a day. And so if Jesus is saying things out loud 2 times a day, I think that's a good thing for me to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. I'm going to write that on my mirror in my bathroom. I'm going to say it out loud. Are any of y'all shower singers? Personal tidbit. I used to, when I was little, and by little, I mean probably older than I should have been. I was like probably 7 or 8. When I would shower, that was my rehearsal time for the national anthem, for when I knew that one day I was going to be performing it at the Super Bowl. There's no way that that's ever going to happen. But the shower was my rehearsal time. I'm going to tell you, have your shower be the time where you say the Shema out loud, where you store in your heart, soul, and mind to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And say it like you mean it. Say it with a smile. It sounds 8 million times better if you say something with a smile. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. So we're going to commit to doing that together, and to bring it back to the decision-making piece. If Jesus says that that is the greatest commandment, then that is going to be how I filter my decisions. I'm not going to do it perfectly. I'm not going to do it every time, but that is absolutely going to be my goal. And so it is something that I am going to read. I'm going to say out loud in the morning and at night to remind myself that that is how I make decisions. And something like we talked about earlier, how scripture helps us know what to hold on to. I believe that that commandment that Jesus was talking about is a really good thing to hold on to. And things get way, way, way more complicated, confusing, uncertain if we start making compromises with ourselves, with God, even with the Bible, of what's actually right, good, and true. I don't think anyone thinks loving the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and loving your neighbor as yourself is a bad idea. So if we feel good about that because scripture emphasizes it, because God has told us to do it, because Jesus reminds us later in the Bible that God told us to do it, I think that's something that we hold on to. And it is hard. There are times when it is so, so hard when we want to do something else and it's like, ugh, but is it really that big of a deal if I don't do what I think is right? And that starts happening 1 inch at a time. And then it becomes, you look up one day and it's like, whoa, I got way far away from where I was trying to go. But because it's hard does not mean it's hopeless and does not mean it's impossible, which is another way that community is such a special, special gift that God gives us through each other. Community makes really hard things so much easier. And community gives us comfort and encouragement and challenges us when things are really hard. So be sure to find that community. Be sure to be that community. And I hope that the All the Things community is a part of the community that helps you do the right thing and make good decisions. We're focusing on one verse because there's so much. It's a good umbrella. As you read the Bible, as you read more throughout Scripture, you can see the specific ways in which God gives us recommendations for how that plays out in different situations. But this is our umbrella. And so I want us to hold on to it and know that we shall love the Lord our God with all our hearts, all our souls, and all our minds, and love our neighbors as ourselves. And that is how we connect with God and connect with others. Like I said earlier, if you are a college freshman, if you know a college freshman, please come hang out with us at the All the College Things content and community kicking off soon. The details are in the show notes. If you are younger, we've got stuff coming for you too. I promise. It is in the works and I cannot wait. I feel like we are just getting started, kicking the tires. And do not forget that today needs you. Listening while we're just getting started. If you want to stay plugged into this community, like, subscribe, and let us know what you'd like to hear more about, who you would like to hear from by shooting us an email at info@allthethings.community.